Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Liebherr 2019 ITTF World Championships, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. I'm your commentator, Adam Bobrow, and this is the quarterfinals of the men's doubles event. Should be an exciting showdown between the Republic of Korea, the team of Youngsik and Sangsu, who fought so well together over recent years. And on the Chinese side, it is Chuqin, the Youth Olympic gold medalist, and the captain, the dragon, the dictator, Ma Long. Ma Long in incredible form right now. Shout out to Rachel Ramos in the Philippines. She's the pride of the Philippines, international umpire. So it'll be a best-of-7 match here. Youngsik, it's quite interesting. His backhand is very wristy, but he has a game that reminds me a lot of Oh Sang-un. Staying tall, likes to take the ball quickly over the table, can chase the ball down when he needs. And Sangsu, we saw get quite close with Jun Ji-hee, but fall in the mixed doubles. So with the coin toss here, which will determine who serves and where the players stand, we will get into our 2-minute warm-up after that. Ma Long with the handshake. For those of you that didn't see Ma Long's match earlier, Ma Long against Hugo Calderano, the thrill from Brazil, was looking incredibly strong. Now, in case you're paying close attention to the men's singles event, Ma Long, one of 3 Chinese players left. The 2 who've been eliminated, Chuqin, you've probably heard, breaking news, as Simone Gauzy knocked him out of the tournament. And on that half of the draw, no Chinese players left, which means for the first time since 2003, there will be a men's singles final that does not have 2 Chinese players. Rackets out of racket control. You can see that one closest. It was banged up a little bit on the edges there. Possibly someone using scissors rather than a razor to cut their rubber. I personally use scissors, so it looks a little bit more human and less perfected by razor or machine. Kim Tak-soo in the corner, one of the great traditional pen holders, Korean pen hold, or J-pen style, we can say. Knows pressure well, has been under it quite a lot. Chun Chi on the other side, former player for the Chinese national team, became the personal coach for Chuqin November 11th of 2018. Interestingly enough, this man right here should be holding that racket. He definitely has one that looks quite the same. It's always nice when you've got your face on the bottom of your racket. I mean, you could just glue it there if it's not part of the package. But for Ma Long, it's not exactly the story. So doubles has more upsets than singles because, well, you're not just out there on your own. You're working with a teammate, and that teammate has to play into your skill sets, the synergy, and basically the way you work together as a team out on the court matters a lot. Chuqin has one of the most dangerous games on the Chinese national team, but in terms of mental maturity, in terms of stability, there's still a lot to be determined. A buzz in the arena right now. Not sure if it's just the bass from the speakers. DJ having a good time. But Chuqin, again, one of the most aggressive players. Now, Ma Long, it's quite interesting because with Liang Jingquin knocking out Fan Zhendong in the singles event and Lin Gaoyuan playing against Ma Long in the next round, it's actually a much tighter head-to-head between Ma Long and Lin Gaoyuan. A look at these two, though. 27-year-old Youngsik and 28-year-old Sangsu. Interesting. Okay, 3 and 6. Well, Youngsik's current world ranking, 22. Sangsu is 6. Got through the North Korean pair 4-0. After that, oh, all right, Chile. So this is the top of the competition, the biggest tournament this year. It's the biggest tournament that you will see before the Olympic Games in Tokyo 2020. Ma Long on the right, the right-handed player. Chuqin on the left, the 18-year-old. This is their debut tournament playing together, and here they are in the quarterfinals, a chance to make a medal. If they win this match, they qualify. Polanski and Sharuchek, very strong from Czech Republic. After that, the Hong Kong pair, the Chinese Taipei team, coming from Taiwan right after that. Some tough opponents. Here she is, Rachel Ramos, the pride of the Philippines, like Mona Lisa sitting there. The serious face, she's as friendly as can be, but right now it's all business. And on the other side of the table, a friendly smile. Ti Mei Lan from Hong Kong. Sometimes it's a little bit of a guess and check with me, but I know that in Hong Kong they tend to Americanize the names a little bit, as in Mak Ziwing. Dalia Dvorak standing behind me to smile. She's actually watching the game on the next court. So as Chun Chi and Kim Tak-soo get comfy, you should too, because we got a best of 7 match here. And while the favorites should be the Chinese players at the top of the screen, Lee Sangsu and Youngsik have a whole lot of experience together. So anything's possible. In terms of fans in the house, the presence of Chinese table tennis fans heavily outweighs that of the Korean fans. Koreans, step it up. We want to see you on the world tour in the stands. Here we go, Lee Sangsu to serve. Maybe it just takes a big title or two. Jeong Woo-jin, for example, being a triple champion at the Korea Open. That's worth traveling the world for. An Jae-hyun knocking out Tomokazu Harimoto. Beautiful shot right off the bounce. Jeong Youngsik with the quick shot here. Predictability can be the enemy for yourself, that is. You can't play a predictable shot at this level because the players are just too fast and know the patterns too well. Residual side spin left on it after Ma Long's chop block, low enough to get a passive shot back. And then after that, normally, you chop block, and when the ball comes back, there's a good attack opportunity. But Wang Chuqin was stuck with some nasty spin. Service warning here. Your toss is not near vertical. Clear words from Rachel Ramos. So that is a warning. Slightly nearer to vertical here. It's interesting, there are some serves you can toss the ball really high, and then if it moves a few feet, it doesn't really matter because it's still nearly vertical, but on the lower toss serves, it's quite easy to see the angle. Beautiful backhand over the table. It wasn't long ago, feels like anyway, that I was commentating Lee Sangsu and Jeon Ji-hee, and Lee Sangsu is very strong over the table, especially with his forehand flick. Well, if the ball's kept low, middle of the table, it makes it very tough to step around. You don't have that space to go around the corner on the table. Still the Korean pair leading 4-2 at the first towel break. And as you might imagine, playing against players so strong as Ma Long and Wang Chuqin, 2 generations apart on the Chinese national team, taking the first game would be very important. Wang Chuqin seeming a bit shaky out here, has missed a few shots. Now I mentioned before that he's the most dangerous, well, one of the most dangerous, that he is very dangerous and fearless in his style of play. He's also quite streaky. That's Kim Tak-soo's way of trying to signal to his players, keep this going, you've got this, you've got this. A little bit of encouragement, facial expression to pump up the players. I feel like right now one thing that's not happening with Wang Chuqin is that he's not pulling out surprise placement. Aggressive, yes, but it's not enough at this level. If the opponents know where the ball is going, they're already a step ahead. Better response from Wang Chuqin this time, but Lee Sangsu gets the ball from a step behind the table and just pummels it out. Perfect placement here to the wide forehand. Now in a righty-lefty combo, like the Chinese pair in red has, playing out to the wide forehand of the lefty, or the righty for that matter, could get them to cross over and be out of position. But Ma Long saves it here with a quality shot on the crossover, so the ball doesn't come back into play. Outstanding points. Wang Chuqin this time delivering from behind the table. With Jeong Youngsik on top of the bounce, I thought as soon as Ma Long got the opening there, Lee Sangsu still able to run through, stay on top of the ball. Think about how many things have to go right for Lee Sangsu to make that return. He has to anticipate where the ball's going, get there in time, and if not anticipate, simply get there in time, close the racket enough, and keep it deep on the table to keep the point going. Second towel break. Chinese pair still down by 4, making a bit of a comeback here with 2 points on the run.
8-4.
It's pretty cool. Not every day you see that. Someone trapping the ball on the table like that, bringing it to a vibrating stop eventually.
8-4.
Edgy, edgy, he says. I don't think anyone was clear on it. It seemed like the ball did divert, change angles, but it happened quite quickly. Ma Long and Wang Chuqin not denying it, Chun Chi neither. So it's definitely possible. Yep. Maybe this is a better angle to look at it. It's going to be tough. Yep, there it is. Indeed. Kim Tak-soo is as fair as they come. He said, I see here. Ooh, this is tough. I don't think I've ever seen Kim Tak-soo complain about anything.
I saw side. See, I saw side.
No.
It's side.
So Rachel Ramos is saying it touched the table, but you were outside the table is how she saw it. So this is where you see it from the other angle. She doesn't have the, I mean, there's no way. He's a 1.5 feet inside, and I know Rachel saw what she saw from the angle she saw. When she sees the replay, she's going to feel bad about it, but you can't fault her. I mean, she doesn't have the video replay. This will become part of the game. Well, that is tough for the Korean pair, but they're going to have to prevail here. They were up 8-2. They've lost 3 in a row now. Big point. Now, oftentimes when there's a bit of crowd here for one of the teams, after a call goes against the pair, the crowd tends to jump behind and rally behind the team. There was some noise in the arena the other day, and I learned that it was for the Hitomi Sato Dora Madaras match. A call that some players didn't agree with. It sent Madaras into tears on the court. That stopped the game. I only learned about this today. But so far, Jeoung Youngsik and Sangsu taking responsibility for what they can with 5 game points here. Beautiful turnaround, though, from Wang Chuqin. Saving 1 game point. Strong receive again. It's the first game, so you wouldn't expect a timeout to be called just yet. Kim Tak-soo doing some very active coaching at this point. Up on his feet in the corner. Shovel serve, possibly. No shovel, but a soft touch leaves Ma Long right near the back edge of the table. Getting 1 foot behind the other, not making the contact. And the Koreans take game number 1, 11 points to 7. We'll be back for game number 2 to see if the upset continues in this direction. Game 2 coming up right after this.
그래서 이렇게 돌려. 그러면 한번 돌릴 때 있으면 이렇게 코스 마저 돌려서 그 다음에 기다렸다가 뭐 실수 가장 될 거야. 짧게 놔두면은 더 좋고 말은 이게 약하니까. 그럼 기다려주고 다음 거.
So as the Chinese fans cheer on Jeoung for Wang Chuqin and Ma Long. It's the Korean pair on the lead right now, up 1-0. Yeah, I said on the lead. Did I mean in the lead? The world may never know. Now, one pair that I forgot to mention, maybe didn't have time to after the Chilean pair of Felipe Olivares and Nicolas Burgos, was the Finnish pair of Alex Naumi and Benedict Ola, making it quite far to get into the round of 16 before Lee Sangsu and Youngsik got the best of them. So a clean start, Wang Chuqin here at love all. Ma Long creates this triangle for his backhand with his left hand out. But watch how far out in front of him the racket is. You couldn't really see it there. But he's able to turn so quickly. And by holding the racket out in front, it gives himself a little bit of room to create some backswing. No question, they're fired up right now to keep the pressure on. We've seen many players and many pairs go up against the Chinese teams and the Chinese players, only to have the lead recovered. Like striking it while it's hot, just making sure that you're taking advantage of the opportunity. You don't want the opponents to get any confidence, figure out tactics that are working. It's one thing that Ma Long is incredible at, identifying weaknesses in the opponent's game, changing tactics. Perfect placement there. Ma Long hits it deep right back at where it came from. A little bit of a fortunate shot to come down on the table. We've seen balls like that Lee Sangsu had come back over the net, though. Tough for someone to get around the table. Had it come back deep to the opposite side, Ma Long would have been stuck. I think the last time I saw that in a televised match was Kasumi Ishikawa, possibly Sendai, the Women's World Cup. She had to spill out on the table. There's a great photo on ITTF of her just lying on the table looking disappointed, like, aw, frown face, couldn't reach. Tight serve again, heavy rotation, or at least it appears that way. Wang Chuqin lifting a lot, overlifting. Penny in the front row, watching closely. It's great to see a lot of familiar faces here supporting their favorite players. Beautiful parallel backhand. I mentioned it before, but Ma Long's backhand, while it might not be as thunderous as that of Fan Zhendong or a few others, it's subtle, it's versatile, and it's quite dependable. Even from behind the table, not so many players can say that. It's good use of the heavy side spin there. Lee Sangsu changing the direction. Put some heavy under, bit of side against it. Two in a row. Wow. Really taking the side of the ball in that push. We see this a lot to keep the ball short. But the placement was good. The timing was perfect. Lee Sangsu in to get it right off the bounce. Not allow Ma Long too much time to set up his shot. Watching Ma Long's grip on the racket as he waited back there reminded me of what Galia Dvorak said. I'd save it for when we're commentating together, but I don't know when our next match is. She said, Ma Long's forehand is so perfect, it makes me want to give him a hug. That probably speaks to a good 75% of the world. So tied up at 6 points apiece here. It's interesting, Chung Chi, when he took over coaching for Chuqin, I saw Chuqin trying to play more aggressive near the table, which you might expect. Chung Chi not known for his lobbing game. Counterattacks, early timing. More typical of the traditional Chinese national team. Chuqin, one of the most unique players. I'd say the most unique player currently on the team. Beautiful counter. Wang Chuqin sneaking in for the wide forehand. Gets in, gets his job done, and gets out. Doesn't spend any time hanging around. It's no small talk from Wang Chuqin, just business. 2 in a row, forehand flip kill this time. Had a little bit more time, makes his move. In game number 1, Wang Chuqin, I mean, it's easy to say weakest link with all the players on court, and it's not quite an insult just to be hanging with these guys, of course. But right now, Wang Chuqin is definitely redeeming any mistakes or things that didn't work out in game number 1. He's over-delivering here in game number 2. Heavy topspin as well. This is the streakiness I was talking about. When he's hot, he's tough to stop. Beats Tomokazu Harimoto for the Youth Olympic gold medal. And just the right length to get the hesitation out of Lee Sangsu. Lee Sangsu thought maybe for a moment he'd have to push, and then realizes he can drop the racket and go for the attack, but by that time, wasn't easy. 4 game points to the Chinese pair. Heavy underspin does it. Wang Chuqin on fire with Ma Long this game. Ma Long was pretty chilled, able to sit back for quite a bit of it. So it's tied up at 1 game apiece. It's a best of 7 quarterfinals, so we'll be back for game number 3 to see who takes the lead right after this.
나는 아까 원set하고 똑같이 게임하는 거야. 응? 딱히 나중에 이렇게 많이 맞춰. 응? 나중에 때.
Players back at the table for game number 3. Ma Long and Wang Chuqin outscoring their opponents by 1 point right now, 18-17, but overall tied up in games. Now, points don't matter any more than winning the game, in the sense that you can win 4-3 having scored less points than your opponent overall. Whoever wins 4 games wins the match. Wang Chuqin quite pumped right now. A chance for a medal, the World Championships at 18 years old. Which actually makes me think of Tomokazu Harimoto. A tough time right now for the Harimoto family. But they're in good company, considering Chuqin, Timo Boll, Fan Zhendong, Lee Sangsu, Ugo Calderano, Liam Pitchford, many players that were expected to be in the last round or continuing on have not. Ma Long showing that versatility. Again, it's subtle, but it is so quick. Versatility is the name of the game for Ma Long. He's not too proud. He's willing to do what he has to. Oh, beautiful forehand. And the fact that he's so calm and cool makes it so surprising when he springs on the ball. Watch Ma Long. Stays ready for a moment. The racket comes straight behind his head for this topspin. Watch where he ends this stroke. Oh, man. A lot of people's rotator cuffs would be in two pieces right now. I obviously don't know my biology, so sorry about that. But the point was it would have dislocated my shoulder. So the first towel break, it is fire throughout the Chinese team from the coach's corner to the players. Oh, missed it, busted. Everybody knows your identity now. It's interesting, the fan culture for different fan clubs in China. And there it is, the pancake flip where Ma Long shows the push, quickly flips to that forehand shot. The aggression that looked like it could have been a push. On the short side of the table, Ma Long can't lose right now. I don't know how many people would pick up a Parker Lewis reference, but Ma Long simply on fire. In his match against Hugo Calderano, that was quite clear. And you could see the hesitation in the footwork there from Sangsu. With 17 different cameras on the table, we get a lot of interesting angles. Magic from Ma Long, crossing the body deep in the backhand corner. Sometimes these points are so quality, it's tough to remember everything that happened. But he picks his placement well. Ma Long under pressure is not only able to make the shot that he wants, but pick the placement on the other side of the table. The depth, the width, the variation in spin. He considers so many things before playing. I really do think that Ma Long's thought process in any given moment, and even in preparation for a match, is still a level above the rest of the world. And that combined with hard work, proper training, and everything else, all the skills he brings to the game, makes him the player that he is. Long way to go for the Korean pair here in game 3. I'm going to take a look at the bracket just to let you know what's in store for the winners here. So many matches being played, you've got to click over to the next page, ITTF.com. So the winners here will play the winners of Liang Jingquin and Lin Gaoyuan versus Ho Kwon Kit and Wang Chunting of Hong Kong. That Hong Kong pair has done quite well on the World Tour recently. Liang Jingquin and Lin Gaoyuan, the two players on the same half of the bracket as Ma Long in singles. A quiet glimpse of hope here. A subtle satisfaction from the Korean side. Now, in general, the Chinese team has I'd say they've tended to set a lot of the trends. Timeout or no? Interesting. I didn't think we'd see one just yet. Potentially if there's one more point here for the Korean pair. Although Chun-Chi could have the confidence to say the team doesn't need it, we could save it for later. And no need, not yet. 5 game points for the Chinese pair in red to go up 2-1 over the Koreans. Just too much pressure coming in, and perfect placement from Wang Chuqin. He gets the fanned up block attempt from Youngsik, but he can't bring it down. 11-5, even more dominant than the game before. The Chinese pair race out to a 2-1 lead over the Korean guys in yellow. The Korean men who will be fighting or fighting to get back and tie it up in game 4. Game number 4 coming up right after this.
해봐. 자신 있게 해봐. 적극적으로 해봐.
Good service.
Welcome back to game number 4 as the players come back to the table after dropping off their towels and a minute to talk in the corner with the coaches. In case you didn't already know, Timo Boll had to pull out of the doubles event with Patrick Franziska as well, so Tiago Apollonia and João Monteiro of Portugal already on to the semifinals, guaranteed a medal for Portugal. Portugal is just an absolute anomaly, a small country by population relative to the others here, yet they've got 4 men that have been playing some incredible table tennis over the years. I think they had 4 men in the top 100 for a little bit. Have to check the world rankings to see. I know Monteiro was out for a little bit, although he had the injury seeding rule. Him and Tristan Flor were able to maintain their seedings. Ma Long's receive game makes it very difficult right now for the Koreans to get a predictable third ball. Wow, Wang Chuqin comes flying through the court. Really? You couldn't see his feet touch the ground. It felt like he just appeared out of nowhere and rips this ball with his forehand. Wow, I guess it's because his feet were high in the air at the point of the contact. A leaping, lunging forehand. Here are the feet on the other side. Be cool. Maybe later on in the highlights we'll get a chance to see the feet of Wang Chuqin and Ma Long. It's tough to comprehend the level of athleticism and the reaction time these players have. At this level of the game, all you have to do is watch one player. And points like this, Ma Long well in position. Didn't need to be on the chase so much, of course. Coming into the first towel break, Youngsik and Sangsu in the lead once again. In game number 1, 8-2. I believe they were up 8-2. Able to pull out and win 11-7. Now last two games, I would say, Wang Chuqin made an incredibly high percentage of his shots. Still playing well out here. And the backhand over the table. This is one thing from the younger Chinese players, that they know fast. When it comes to speed, they've got it. They have so much speed, power, agility. But one thing Ma Long has that a lot of the younger players take time to learn is the ability to really change the pace and feel comfortable shutting down the opponent's rhythm, taking it away. But in the push game here, it's the Korean pair that excel. Bird's eye view to see what the choreography looks like, where the players move. I'm going to take a moment, just in case you're a little newer to table tennis, the heavy backspin, when you see them with the open face of the racket like a spatula just coming under the ball, this is one way to make sure that the ball stays short, that it grips the table, and instead of jumping out away from the net, that it stays over the table so that the opponents don't have an easy attack for a full swing. They have an obstacle in the way. But Ma Long with the hooking forehand, that pressure. And it's tied up. I just looked down at the court for a moment. When I looked back, it looked like there was a Ma Long fan club hat in the crowd. October 20th. There it is. There it is. The blingy Ma Long hat. You should hear that girl freestyle. Well placed, tight serve. A little bit more into the line of the table. Well, depth is one factor to consider. In doubles, you only have half of the table, but still serving it in on the line can make things uncomfortable, get the opponents to be jammed up a little bit in terms of their positioning. 2 points out in front, Youngsik and Sangsu. So at the second towel break, Youngsik and Sangsu, I feel like these subtle details about the service and the push game, where they place it so that they set up the rally well to be in position to handle the opening attacks. But Youngsik right here opens up with the Chiquita, who comes in with a backhand flick anyway, regardless of the amount of side spin on it. About 80% for his speed. Not enough to outright finish the point or intimidate a Chinese Super League player. In terms of speed, that's the highest standard there, highest standard there is. Forgive me, I'm still working on my English. Chinese pair within 1 point. If they take this game, it will be an incredibly steep incline for the Koreans. Oh, and heavy underspin. Heavy underspin on the serve, takes the point outright and ties it up. If the Koreans can manage to pull out this game, they've tied it up. Adds a bit of pressure to the current world rank number 11 and Chuqin, currently world rank number 92. Don't let that fool you. Participation matters a lot now on the world tour. Ooh, fast long serve, good placement. Deep to the table, disrupting the rhythm. Throwing a fastball into the body, right at the hands of Chuqin. That is a bold and brave serve from Youngsik, but the bravery pays off. Second one here, we're gonna see 2 in a row. Well, we didn't. It went back to something a little more typical, came off the table. The thing is, Chuqin is so good over the table in his receive game that he really puts a lot of pressure on the third ball here. Is that a reverse? No, it's still the Chole in forward motion. I thought we were going to get a little dubstep remix of Ma Long Choleing in slow-mo silently. If there is no sound, is it still dubstep? Now this also psychologically adds a bit of pressure to the 18-year-old Chuqin. Ma Long spinning to make that big shot. And when he's out of position for a moment, Chuqin has to think, on my next shot, I need to make sure I hit it well, but not in a place that if it comes back, Ma Long is out of position. So it really does add a bit of pressure. 1 point out in front, the Korean pair signaling, Sangsu signaling what he's planning to receive. Chiquita wide to the forehand, does it. Not sure what the apology was for. I get messages actually on social media asking, why do players apologize when they hit an amazing winner? And the answer is sometimes it has to do with hitting the edge of the racket. Anything just a little bit lucky that wasn't intended to help their chances. Sometimes it's a net ball earlier in the points or an edge of the racket earlier in the points that maybe spectators forget about, don't see or hear because it's subtle and fast. The players know. 2 game points for the Koreans. Big forehand does it deep into the backhand side of Ma Long. Sangsu drilling his forehand, 11-8. It is tied up at 2 games apiece, and the plot thickens as we come back for game number 5 right after this.
没有问题的，好不好？是手上自己加一点调节，没有问题，他们质量不高。 对吧？只要让香秀这边哎有点不舒服，抽不来质量，打大眼这块，大眼质量抽不来，你们可以往前引一点，打他这一边，香秀这边就招大眼，好不好啊？可以，没问题。
다시 적극적으로 해야 돼 우리가.
Players back for game number 5. This guy's leaving a voice message on Instagram to his family. I just have a sense. For a moment, I thought he was taking a selfie, but nobody talks like that to their phone and looks away when they're taking a selfie. I mean, they could. It might be interesting, actually. Give it a try.
Jeoung to serve.
Hashtag not just ping pong. Hashtag ITTF Worlds 2019. I don't know if that's the type of picture they're looking for, but thought I'd throw out their hashtags. Game number 5. Koreans with some momentum here. Serves on their side. Oh, chop block crawls up the side of Ma Long's face. That's odd. Happens from time to time. It's a very tough shot to perform. From the arm across the chest, anyway. From Galia Dvorak to Kasumi Ishikawa, and even the ball is attracted to Ma Long. Sky lob nowhere near the table. The power of Wang Chuqin. I was watching Wang Manyu play earlier, talking to Wu Yue of the USA. He used to play for Beijing. She said the young generation, Wang Manyu just so fast and powerful. And on the men's side, Wang Chuqin's the same. A bit behind, and you can see the reaction of Youngsik. He's blasted by that forehand. Sangsu cleaning the table quickly to make sure there's no sweat. Perfect placement into the middle. Ma Long in the crossover point. Kim Tak-soo quickly saying go for the forehands. A little bit of a guessing game. But as strong as his backhand is, his forehand is much stronger. And in doubles, assuming you're in position, you hit one, get out of the way. But this is the challenge, right? They're forced into the backhand game. The Chinese pair is saying, we dare you to step around and leave open that forehand corner, or let's just pick a fight with your backhands. The rest of the world doesn't have the same level of play as China, but especially in the backhand game. I remember talk about Marcos Freitas' backhand, which is one of the top in Europe for some time at that level. But by Chinese standards, it didn't seem to bother them. And out here just the same, the Korean pair, if they take it early on the rise, pull a little Lu Shiwon effect out here, it could be effective, but it's going to be a very tall order here. I'd say a tough ask. But the fighting spirit ties it up. 3 points apiece coming into the first towel break. Again, if you're newer to table tennis, players allowed to use their towel every 6 points to make sure they don't stall too much, that the game's exciting to watch. You can see how much tuck back there was on that wrist for the receive to generate all the spin that Wang Chuqin does. Ma Long has found the middle so successfully, and until he's having to pay for it, until he gets a forehand countered back, gets too much step around, it's Ma Long who's able to make the quick cover, the quick turn. The thing is, Ma Long's so quick to not only turn and play the shot, but to go the other way as soon as he sees Lee Sangsu starting to anticipate. Like this, but it worked out for the Korean pair. It was exactly what I was talking about. Ma Long sees the turn out of the peripheral and goes down the line. For me, part of that is anticipation. He has an idea based on the patterns that Lee Sangsu is burned in the middle. Last point says, you know what? Most players would turn here. They don't want to get punished for the same thing twice. Chop block low and effective this time around. Again, Ma Long, Koki Niwan, Adriana Diaz. The 3 best chop blockers I've seen, although I haven't seen Adriana Diaz pulling that shot out so much recently when she took the US Open title. She used it, I'd say, about 5 times per game from that moment on when she discovered it was working. Crowd getting quite into the matches here. Clever timing for a long push. The long push, when it has the surprise factor, can be quite irritating for the opponents. Even if that ball comes down, Youngsik's shot sits up, it's just a little bit soft. And it was even to where Ma Long was playing, so you can expect a pretty powerful backhand back. Ooh, net break there for Youngsik. Little fun fact about Youngsik, after the Olympic Games in Rio 2016, was so strong in the teams event, I believe it was against Ma Long, that he was invited to the Chinese Super League. Playing in the Chinese Super League is an honor, very valuable learning experience for all. Excellent counter off the bounce here. Sangsu times it well. I think there's a sense of freedom in the sense that Sangsu isn't hesitating. And both Sangsu and Youngsik need to make their decisions quite quickly. They see an opening on the wide corner, whether it's playing it to the middle or anywhere else. Something that'll get the coach grimacing on the other side. Mission accomplished. Thanks for your support. 6 points apiece. Second towel break. Finished now.
6-4.
One serve I haven't seen in a while. The shovel serve, Ma Long's legs. Now Wang Chuqin is very strong. Youngsik has the wide wingspan. He's quite tall and lanky. Actually not that much taller than Sangsu. But Sangsu gets very low in his receive game. You can see him standing next to each other, almost the same height. But when you think about them, it just feels like, based on their style of play, their posture, and their stance, Sangsu is much smaller. Oh, attempted long serve. And the point outright to the opponents. Well, it's tough. You got to take chances sometimes. No risk, no reward. So this one didn't work out for the Koreans. Still within 2 points here in game number 5. Well, that's the type of opening Youngsik wants and needs. But the pressure comes back hot. Steaming shot. Sangsu trying to play it back the other way wide. Just shaking my head up here thinking, if this isn't Ma Long near 100%, just amazing to watch him play.
6.
And now 4 game points for the Chinese pair to go up 3-2. Their debut performance at the World Championships. At 18 years old, to be representing China here, quite an honor. And a break, they get through. The Chinese pair 11-6, not exactly the way Ma Long and Wang Chuqin had planned it. But nonetheless, the scoreboard can't be too disappointing for the Chinese pair. The Koreans have their fight cut out. Game number 6 coming up right after this.
他俩搬运都不太会拉，基本上都是吊，而且他们两个右手不好，中间那搬起来不好，盯一下，这控制的话压力就小一点，然后反拉一下分一下就完了，好不好？自信啊！
Yeah, flex it up, buddy. Fans in the crowd, oh, he's got bunny ears. How embarrassing. He's never going to be able to change the minds of the fans who saw that live. Bunny ears, the worst. Welcome back to game number 6. Fans enjoying it here in the crowd with Pongi the fox. I assume it's a fox, actually. Pointy ears, looks a little bit like a dog or a wolf. That'd be funny if it was Pongi the wolf. The Ma Long fan club there with their Ma Long flag and the China flag in hand. Right now their team performing quite well. 11-6 in the last game to recover from an 11-8 loss. But this was the playing pattern that favored the Korean pairs in game number 4. The Korean pair, rather, players. Ma Long has been so strong at taking the ball from over the table. You could see from that bird's eye view that it might have bounced a second time on the table. Good placement here, touch shot right in between and a good length. Long enough to tempt Ma Long to flip, short enough that he didn't have a full swing. He's caught a little bit in between. That's what half long is all about, getting hesitation out of the opponent. To hang in there for Lee Sangsu's backhand. The stability factor. Again, when speed comes out, the placement has to be just right to fool Ma Long and Wang Chuqin. Jumping and swatting it back. Jolly. I love it. Chole from the bench. It's a vicarious Chole. In case you're curious what that means, the answer is nobody knows. By nobody, I mean possibly somebody, but I haven't met anybody who does. Heard some interesting theories, though. Chio for ball, as in Hao Chio. Nice shot, good ball. I also heard a rumor that Jiao, as in add oil or go for it, that you hear the fans chanting in Chinese and Mandarin. Chanted quickly, sounds a lot like Jiao. I'm less convinced, though. We'll see. Either way, score-wise, it's dead even here in game number 6. And at the first towel break, the Koreans need a bit of a head start. They need to run out in front. Now, service-wise, you might remember that under pressure, Lee Sangsu had served into the net, but here he's waiting for the third ball. Ice cream in the hands of Youngsik. I guess that was more of an insider reference for equipment junkies. Referencing the blade that Youngsik is using. Now, in terms of playing on the move, the Chinese pair has seemed much more stable mid-air to make the shots. The Koreans will get one or two back, but it's very tough when you're moving from out of position back in cross court to play the ball aggressively, precisely. Pretty ambitious attempt here. It's a very short stroke forehand flick. Against a pretty low ball, too. I mean, if it makes it, it'd be quite shocking. We got the timeout here on the Korean side. It's a type of shock that it's the risk I was talking about taking before. If you play just a safe game, in some senses, that's the worst plan to secure yourself a victory when you're playing stronger players. And while the Korean pair have more experience together, working together. They're still playing two very skilled, very strong players from the most dominant nation in table tennis.
지금 잘하고 있어.
China, by the way, as opposed to Luxembourg, which has some very strong players and nice people.
작게 넣을 수 있으면 작게 넣으면.
So the conversation right now. Again, I'm curious to see the shovel serve. A long serve paid off earlier, but it has to come out sparingly because it has to be surprising. If Lee Sangsu can get a forehand flick from more centered on the table, a little bit more to the backhand side, he can be very strong. But positioning-wise, they've got two right-handed players. This is a disadvantage. In doubles at the highest levels, like China, for example, you will see a lot of right and left-handed pairs. There's the ice cream. Delicious.
5-3.
Thank you, cameraman, for that. That was pretty cool. No pun intended. Ice cream jokes, they're coming back. All right, out of the timeout, let's see what happens. Wang Chuqin with the serve. But that flick deep into the backhand puts the pressure on. Lee Sangsu has a strong backhand, but at Chinese Super League speed, you'd probably prefer the forehand under pressure. And if you can't find the middle perfectly, picking a side, I think the Chinese pair has been picking pretty well. Sets them up with a 3-point lead here in game number 6. This is the type of risk that pays off. Here you can see the pressure from the low ball.
Left. 4-6.
When Ma Long plays a ball like that, you know he's saying, I believe it was a let, but Youngsik does the right thing. He doesn't stop playing until he hears from the umpire, let. Very smart play, loose, flexible wrist. Youngsik plays it out wide to the forehand for the parallel winner.
Timeout.
The timeout on the Chinese side. Chun Chi stepping in here. 2 points in a row. This is good for me. This is a good sign from Chun Chi. I haven't seen him coaching with the Chinese national team for very long. Again, became Xuxin's personal, I'm Sean Connery, his personal coach. Became his personal coach on November 11th, and since then, still is quite fresh to the experience. Calling timeouts comes with confidence as well. Coaches have to be confident just like players. They have to be willing to step in when they think it's necessary. You guys good? So if I made any sense of that, and I did my best, it seemed like watch carefully when you have the spin coming in. And this is the tricky part for me. I know just enough to make sense of some of what's being said. Oh, there's the hat. Hans in the hat, the pin collection. To know what's being said, but not who it's applying to. If you've got a spinny ball coming in, you're fast enough. You don't have to move early. Just watch and wait and come back with the spin shot. It's one of the many advantages of all the physical training that the Chinese national team does. But a little bit passive here. Wang Chuqin watches and waits as the ball comes right into the crossover point. That makes 3 in a row now for the Korean pair to tie it up. It's another look. Good spinny backhand into that crossover point. Youngsik getting a backhand from the forehand side out of Wang Chuqin. So serves back with the Chinese pair here.
6-7.
You might wonder what the apology was for. Possibly caught the edge of the racket. Sometimes there's a faint net. I'm guessing a little bit myself. It all happened so fast, officer. But the plan had been working. Youngsik with the aggressive receives on the backhand. He does have those long limbs. Good use of spin there, but Chuqin a bit more prepared this time for the heat coming in. Sangsu had his head back in disappointment that he couldn't continue the point. But credit to Chuqin, making a much better response to Youngsik's opening shot. And when he gets confident and free, that Chiquita can be quite difficult to come back against here, I'd say. A lot of rotation. Watch one more time. Tucked. Blasted fast down the line. Now, in terms of risk, he's playing to the short side of the table. That means he's got even less margin for error. But the surprise factor is greater. Watching those slow-mos of Ma Long talking to himself between points made me think that if I could read a book translated with the thoughts of Ma Long on table tennis, all his thoughts about table tennis and how to play, tactics, just the way he thinks about the game, I think this would be an international bestseller. Definitely within the table tennis world. Perfect placement in at the legs, and a nice change of pace, softened up, left out in front of Chuqin. Takes it early. Youngsik doesn't go for an aggressive shot, just closes the racket. A little slippage there on the left foot of Chuqin. So it is crunch time right now. 2 points for Ma Long and Chuqin to move on to the semifinals. That's all they need.
9-0.
So a little bit off the top of the net in the follow-up forehand flick. No cho, no celebration because of the fortune for the net. Get a little bit of help, a little bit of luck for the Korean pair who played the point quite well. No timeouts left, as you could see on the actual scoreboard sitting on the stand. Or if you know where to look on the digital scoreboard, you could see the same. So game number 6, the last 2-point combination for service with the side of the Koreans. A chance to convert both serves and send this into the decider. Oh, the punch goes just long. Youngsik was there. He knew what to do. He did the right thing, made his move. But again, the pressure coming in and the pressure to keep it deep has earned match point for Ma Long and Chuqin. Oh, after all that, Youngsik had surprised completely Chuqin, who chases it down, saves it, and wins the match 11-9. A tough finish for the Korean pair, but a very respectable match. And bravo to Ma Long and Chuqin, the 30-year-old and 18-year-old respectively, who for their very first time at the World Championships have combined to make it to the medal rounds. They are in the semifinals of the men's doubles, and they will be playing the winner of teammates Liang Jingquin and Lin Gaoyuan versus Hong Kong's Ho Kwon Kit and Wang Chunting. What a match it was. Stick around, we've got an interview with the winners. And following that, more exciting doubles for you right here.
Close to me, like a parallel. 就站成一条线吧。So congratulations on winning this tough match. How would you describe this match? 恭喜你们取得了胜利，比赛打得也比较焦灼嘛。你如何评价这场比赛呢？
确实是一场这种比较困难的比赛吧。然后，我觉得今天整体王楚钦打的确实在这种第二局、第三局，我觉得他发挥的不错。然后，让我也给我也很多带动。然后后面我觉得自己打的比前面要好一些。
Indeed, today the match was pretty tough, but Wang Chuqin, my partner, he played very well from the second set, and we cooperated better. He made me more active, and we had a good collaboration. So for Wang Chuqin, you said you were a little bit nervous last time because it's your first World Championship with Marlon in men's doubles. Now, how do you feel? Do you feel more relaxed or more enjoyable? 上一次你说这是你第一次在这样的大赛上跟马龙搭档双打，你有点紧张，你现在感觉怎么样呢？有没有越来的越放松或者更享受比赛？
我觉得随着比赛的进程吧，可能越打越好吧，自己在场上也越来越能释放自己吧，感觉自己特别珍惜在这个舞台上的机会吧，也特别想充分的调动自己，展现自己所有的能力吧。所以说这场球打的还是比较兴奋，这是自己调动出来了吧。我觉得这场球可能自己打的比之前所有场次更好，更能检验自己了。
With the ongoing matches, I feel I'm more confident and more used to the atmosphere. I try my best to become more active and to show my ability. So for me, I think I played better and better, especially in this match. So for the next round, how would you prepare for it? 你们对于下一场比赛有没有什么特别的准备？
下一场可能我觉得比赛肯定会越打越困难嘛，所以也希望能够调动起能量，然后发挥出最好的水平嘛。
I think the further we go, the more tough the match will be. So for us, we'll try our best to be more active and more motivated in the match. Thank you. 谢谢。然后这个上面签个字啊，等一下这个。
Well, there you have it, signature time. It is the rap album with Ma Long on the cover. Slow-mo. Oh, I was like, how are they doing a slow-mo in real time? I don't get it. But then it was Ma Long who just went slow for a minute. Same with Wang Chuqin there. Signatures on the glass. Wang Chuqin was right. Started nervous and really delivered under pressure. Tough match coming up. Great interview. Great to hear from the players. And stick around because coming up right after this, we've got Chunmeng and Juyu Ling, the event that she's playing in, versus Du Hoi Kem and Lee Ho Ching. Stay right here.